Love, love, love. I cannot see who that is. But we got a few people that's tuned in, so let's get right into it. I just left school and I decided to do this because I am learning a lot in school. I have been an entrepreneur for close to 10 years now. Um, well, actually, a little over 10 years now. I've been an entrepreneur and I have done a lot without a formal education. And I decided to go back to school. If you know my story, then you know that I have done juvenile time, foster home, boys' homes, you name it, really. You name it, really. I've done pretty much everything. I've never been a dumb guy, so I'm not about to sit here and act like I didn't have any sense before. And I woke up one day and decided to open up a book. That's not what happened. Basically, I've done a lot of time. I've done time since I was 10 or 11 years old, and in my adulthood, I did a prison bid at 18, and I wasn't released until I was 27. That was for armed robbery, home invasion. So after doing that time, I came home and I was on the same thing. So I came home and I got into dealing with oxycodone, and I did that for a few years. And the feds picked me up in 2015, and I fought a case for 2 years. I fought the RICO case down to a conspiracy case. So I ended up I ended up going to Miling Federal Correctional Facility, where they offer college. They offer college from Jackson College, and I received a associate's degree there. So once I got that degree, I met a very educated professor. Obviously, he had some sense. He was a professor, and the class that we took was called first year student, and it was just talking about having the right attitude. And basically, this class was given to all of the students so they could understand the difference between a successful student and a student that really was planning on failing. So I took this class, and this professor who called himself Dr. D, he talked to me, and Dr. D said, "Listen, even though you're in this situation, you have a pretty bright future, and you should not just do schooling because you're here in this correctional facility. You should actually take this serious, and you should put forth some effort and see what you can do with this." So I cracked down and I finished school in 2019 with a 4.0 grade point average. The COVID hit, a lot of things got mixed up, a lot of stuff happened. I wasn't able to finish school there, and they didn't offer a bachelor's degree anyway. I would just be, racking up credits. And basically, I did a paralegal course. I took the paralegal course. I learned a lot. I still have a bunch of books here. I got a mini library behind me, and I got this paralegal course, and I learned a lot in this paralegal course, and it allowed me to help some people with some legal work, help myself do some legal things. But my passion is still business. So I came home last year in February, and I enrolled in school for the next semester, which was I actually enrolled for the fall semester of last year. And Wayne State ended up giving me a scholarship, a 2-year scholarship, which they pay most of the college education, they paid for it. So all I needed was those 2 years to get my bachelor's degree. So I've been in school for the past year getting this bachelor's degree, and I have about another 2 semesters left. We in the middle of one of the semesters, so after this semester is over, I have one more semester left. So I am in school and I'm learning so much about business and different things that I did not know, even though I was a semi-successful entrepreneur. I say semi-successful because when you in the streets, it's kind of hard to fail at being an entrepreneur. You have all the money in the world to back you. So I had a lot of I had a lot of funding, if that's what we're gonna call it. So you don't never really know how good you are at business until you're relying on your business senses and not money from the streets. So at this point, I am no longer active in the streets, and I am like handling my business. So I was sitting and doing a little homework, and I'm thinking like, dang, a lot of the things that I'm learning are not things that you would learn just doing business. Now you could pay people to do some of these things. You can pay accountants and you can pay some of these other people, but a lot of the things that I'm learning are not things that you would learn in just the everyday entrepreneur life. So you take on Thanks, Nakia. You take on a whole different attitude when you realize that even some of the things that you thought you were doing, uh, naturally, they have actual science to them, and you like, dang, when you break this down, like I was doing something in school, and it was talking about one of the examples were actually one of the it broke down ticket pricing, and it talked about buying the venue, it talked about paying the talent, it talked about different seats and different ticket costs and how many tickets you need to break even. And it broke this all down, and I'm like, dang, I do that in my head, but I've never wrote it down in that type of complexity and actually made sense of it the way that they did. So I went through all of that to say that a lot of people are relying on this natural ability, and that's fine. And you may even find some success, and finding some type of success, it actually makes you overconfident in your abilities. So when you are successful, you are not looking for ways to better yourself in the sense of actually educating yourself on certain things. So when you bump your head and you say, dang, how did I lose this time? And you start going back through things and you realize, like, dang, I don't have the knowledge to actually make certain things make sense. So that's where a formal education comes into play. So you have people that thanks, Jamar. So you have people that say that, I got this figured out, and you may have this figured out until you find a bump in the road, because that bump in the road will give you the insight that you need and remind you that you don't have this all figured out. Success could be deadly because as long as you're successful, you really feel like it's nothing anybody could tell you. So no matter what business you in, you have to seek some type of mentor. I have a mentor and I've been pretty busy, and actually he's been pretty busy the last few weeks, but I usually talk to him once or twice a month in extent. Like I talk to him once or twice a month in extent. And throughout the month, I catch up with him in pieces and ask questions as I need them. And he gives me a lot of advice. So a formal education is not needed in some senses, especially if you find the right mentorship. And you have people that's selling these mentorships for 5,000, 10,000. I even had a week with a mentor that was actually charging 20,000, $30,000 a year for mentorship. So when you think about that type of thing, you're actually paying for this education because it's college educations that cost 20, 30, $40,000 a year. So you're actually paying for this education just in a different way. People are looking at college in such a negative light because there are so many people that's become successful without college that you feel like, well, why I need to go to school? And you don't need to go to college if you want to be a plumber. You can go get a trade and become a plumber. You don't need to go to college if you want to drive trucks. You can go get a CDL and go to truck driving school. But what you have to realize is that in order to do something, you're going to have to do something. If you're sitting in your house and you want to go invest in stocks and you've never invested in stocks before, you're going to have to do some form of research, or you're going to go out and blow whatever money you're trying to invest. If you want to do real estate and you have no knowledge in real estate, you either find somebody with the knowledge in real estate to teach you, or you're going to learn the hard way and you're going to lose some money. You're going to lose some money. I mean, you may make some money too, but you'll lose money before you make money. And even if you make money first, you'll lose it because you don't understand how to make money in whatever field it is. So you have a lot of people that's freestyling and finding success, and that is the worst thing that can happen. Excuse me. If you go to a casino and you gamble, and the first few times that you gamble, you hit a lick, bam, you up 20,000, 10,000, whatever. You're overconfident in your ability to gamble. You go in, you lose a few times, and you look up, you didn't gave the 10 or $20,000 back, and now you down your 6,000, and you looking at how you gonna pay these bills and keep food in the refrigerator and clothes on your kids back because you that first win have you overconfident. As a business owner, you have to constantly evolve, constantly learn, because nothing is stagnated. Business is not stagnated. Before 2015, 16, there wasn't a lot of people running Facebook ads. Anybody that know me know I was running these ads in 15, 14, 15, 16, somewhere around there. And I was running these ads successfully. But in order for me to get to the success of running these ads, I had lost a lot of money. If I had the access to that account and to show you, because somebody stole that page, but I had spent in excess of maybe five, $6,000 in learning how to make these ads uh make sense. Basically, the way Facebook ads work, you are paying per click or paying per view. And I was overpaying per view because I did not segment the ads right. I did not have everything the way that it should be, and I was freestyling. So basically, I may have been paying 20 cents a view, where once I learned how to work this, I ended up doing it for maybe 0.02 cents a view, because I learned how to work these things. Like, you have to learn, and there's a curve in learning, and you'll lose a lot of money before you actually make money. So we have kids now, and we are teaching our kids all about entrepreneurship. Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. I can't see who it is, because you have to basically you know log into what I'm using, the Restream app, and that's how I'm gonna see your name if you in my group. I see some other names if you on my Facebook page. Sometimes it's YouTube. I'm getting some views from YouTube, so I'm just letting you know I don't really know who this is. But man, I appreciate you. I'm still learning. I'm still growing, and that's the point. That growth is a consistent thing. It's not a I'm grown. I've grown. Leave me alone. When people say I'm grown, that shows you how immature they really are. If somebody has to constantly tell you, "What's up, Hams?" Okay, I see you. I'm going through the same thing you was going through on yours. So basically, we 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 hear people say all the time, "I'm grown. I'm grown." That's saying that I'm through growing. I'm never grown. I'm never grown. I'm always growing. It's impossible for you to be grown. By the time you're grown, you're dying, you're dead. There are people that's 70, 80, 90 years old that is still learning things. You have people going back and get masters and doctorates at 70, 80 years old. How are you at 25, 35, and 40 constantly yelling about being grown? Stop it. So, in what we do now is we are telling our kids, "Oh, you don't need school. You don't need school." That's the worst thing you can tell a kid, because now they're getting the idea that no matter what I do, I don't need to learn. School is equated with learning. So unless you break this down and you say you don't need formal education if you do this or if you want to do that, until you're able to do this, you are constantly miseducating these kids and having them think that I don't need anything extra to be successful. So now you have these kids that are coming up and they're literally running the streets at 14, 15, 16, 17. And I'm not knocking them, because I ran the streets at 14, 15, 16, 17, and I bumped my head. But if you want your kids to do better, you have to explain this. No matter what they want to do, they're going to have to start somewhere. And that's with a high school education, a diploma, or a GED, because a lot of the things that you need to do is limited past that. So you can go do some things and you may find success beyond a GED or a high school diploma if you're doing the right thing. Okay, hold on. Here goes somebody that needs to learn about it right now. Yes. Everybody always want to play a game when I'm on it. Okay. So let's work on that. You want to tell the people hi since you interrupted my live? Come tell them hi. Yeah, he want to tell everybody hi. There you go. Hi. Hey, hey, that's the Bashi. Say hi. Hi. That's my mini me. Hi. Okay, I love you. Go lock the door. So when you have like him, I can't tell a kid something like you don't need an education. That's totally going against everything that's real. That's totally going against everything that's real. I don't care what skill you have, what talent you have. Stop telling people they don't need an education. There are definitely success stories where education was not involved. You have people that dropped out ninth, 10th grade. You have people like Jay-Z who may have had a eighth, ninth, 10th grade education that's a billionaire. You may have other billionaires that finished high school and never went to college. But to tell these kids that you don't need an education is dead wrong and it's misleading. So A formal education may not be needed, but some form of education is needed. Some type of financial education. You may be great at numbers and may just want to do the stock market. You don't need an education to invest in the stock market and be successful, but you have to have some type of understanding of those numbers, and you need some type of education in actually playing the stock market. Even if you have a natural ability, you still need some type of education to do this. So now you have told these kids you don't need it. And in their understanding, I can be successful no matter what I do. And then your kids end up sitting in your house at 25, 26, 27 years old, or they sitting outside somebody's store begging for money, or they sitting outside the freeway begging for money because you've misled them. It is your job to teach kids what they need to be successful, and to constantly put that in a kid's head that they don't need schooling, or they don't need a formal education, or they don't need anything beyond a GD or a high school diploma, or that they don't even need that, is definitely misleading, and it puts your kid in a terrible position. So now we are looking at education as the devil, or something that's extra, instead of something that's beneficial. And that's not the way to look at it. It doesn't work for everybody, but education works for a lot of people. And beyond having a formal education, you meet a lot of your network within college. I'm pissed that I didn't go straight to college out of high school. And where I went to, I met a lot of people too. You know what I'm saying? So when you are, prison is definitely not college, but a lot of people call it that. And in prison, you build a certain network. I still meet guys that I still bump into guys that I met when I was 18 and 19 on a prison yard. And they say, dang, Jackpot, you grew up. And I still meet people that I was in the feds with. I just bumped into a guy today that I used to play chess with in the feds. So you have a different type of fraternity in prison too, but you need to be around a certain type of people. So if for nothing else, if you go to school to be around a certain type of people, to actually get cultured in a different way, to actually see something different. And I advise people to go off and live off campus, and I mean, live on campus somewhere and actually enjoy the college experience. Right now, I have a whole family, as you just seen. So my college experience is a little limited. I can't hang out with the teenagers. That's a little weird. But if you go right from high school and you go to college, you have to enjoy the whole experience. And that experience is actually meeting people that's from different places and that's going off to different places that you can consistently network with. And that's what's going to open the door for you and opportunities. Stop it. It is definitely worth it. And that's coming from someone who found success without a formal education and who is now being formally educated. I'm telling you, any form of education, whether it's a heating and cooling license or a certificate or truck driving, whatever, you need to be educated, and it will open up doors for you. Do not mislead these kids into believing that success is going to come no matter what, because they're going to end up somewhere very unsuccessful by the numbers. You'll have your pieces here and there that may be successful, but by the numbers, they're going to end up somewhere that you don't want them to be. Stop doing that. Even if you don't have an education, do not belittle education. It is very important. And once again, I am not just talking about college. I am talking about some type of education beyond high school or GED. It is very important. Stop belittling it because maybe you wasn't able to do that and you didn't feel like doing that, or you wasn't in a position to do that. Do not tear down education. We have to build our community on education. It does not have to be in somebody college, but we have to build our community on education. And until we do, we are in serious trouble. Stop feeding into the BS. It is money for you to go to school. These people gave me a scholarship. I am 30. Well, when I did it, I was 36 years old, maybe, when I filled out the information and they gave it to me. Stop it. They have all type of money available. There were extra scholarships this year from Wayne State. Like they had money left over from Wayne State College of Business, from the Mike Ellis School of Business. There was way more scholarship money available. So stop tearing down education. You are tearing down futures, and you are tearing down these kids, and you are really giving them a bad starting point, and you are shedding a bad light on things. So we have to promote education in some form or fashion, whether it be self-educating, whether it be a formal education or it be some kind of trade school, but we have to promote education. We have to promote these certificates. We have to promote contractor's license. We have to promote these things because this is what's needed in the world. And if you do not have it, you are literally uh, steps and steps behind. You need these certificates and you need education. I'm not going to belabor the point. I just wanted to get on here and touch bases on that. Thank y'all for tuning in. This one will be public and you will be able to share it. My Sunday night live info streams will not be public. They will be only for my group, but I will go live from time to time. A lot of them will be a spur of the moment and some of them will be scheduled, but I will go live from time to time. And if you see it on my regular page, you can share it. I thank y'all once again for tuning in. I am sorry for the interruption from my youngest, the Cash Bash, but y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. We still winning and